business briefings, and this is brought to you by the SABC. In fact, there we go. Suddenly our microphones are back on, and you at home obviously have been hearing what we're saying. And as we're saying, we are at the Ilango Estate in Bloemfontein for this and the latest series of the New Age business briefings. And our guest today is the Free State Premier, Ace Magashule. And I've got to ask, Premier, where did this name Ace come from?
Well, Peter, I used to be a soccer player. In my town where I come from, there was a team called Parade Small Rangers.
Right.
That was the feeder to the then Mangaung United. And during those days, we played, and later on, we became stars.
What position did you play?
We formed, we called a team called Paris All Champs. And we played with the likes of KK Nanana and so on. That's where my name, this name comes from.
So you were an ace striker, or?
I was a striker.
If only Bafana were playing AFCON in those days.
Unfortunately, we were denied opportunities during those days.
All right. Look, this is an important year, isn't it, for the province? 100 years. This is where the party was born. What's been happening since the celebrations at the beginning of the year?
Well, we have been celebrating. We have been working hard. We want to ensure that when this year passes, people can remember this year. We are having a lot of memorial lectures so that we talk about our history, our presidents, and we prepare for the future.
All right. So, a lot of positive things that you talked about. You said there are a lot of advancements that you've made, particularly since 2009 when you became Premier. But there are challenges on your table, and you said that perhaps people don't quite know what the story is. So let's unpack some of those, beginning with the service delivery protests. What are the people upset about that they're not seeing? Because you're painting one picture, and they are demonstrating another one.
Well, 18 years after freedom, I'm sure South Africa is the only country in the world. You can look at the countries where people were colonized. And when we took over, I can tell you, even I was happy when some Americans legislators visited the Free State Provincial Legislature. They were with the Deputy Speaker. And they said, what is surprising about South Africa and a province like us is that in America, even for more than 200 years, there are still challenges. How do we get it right that in 18 years, we are able to have addressed so many challenges? Challenges of water, electricity, houses, education, bringing back the dignity of a black person, bringing together our society, black and white. How do we achieve this? With no war. With no war. What a miracle. And indeed, there are challenges because the unemployment rate is very high. It's not only high in South Africa, in the Free State. Unemployment is all over the world. And I think that is one of the main challenges. And South Africa was going to do better if black people were not denied education and those opportunities. If we were not denied by the then president for vote in 1953 that we must study maths and science, we could have been far as a country.
And these demonstrators are probably saying then, how much longer must we wait? Because it's been 18 years.
Well, we are not saying people must wait longer and longer, but we are a party which does not want to lie to people. We rather be a party which talks the truth. The truth is that change is still going to take time. I don't know how many years.
Do you have the time, though? Because they're impatient.
That's why we are planning for 2030. And people are still going to say 2030 is too far. But what shall we do? What will we do? And that's why we are making a plea to our people, to business, to those who have. Let us share the resources. Let us build this country together. Be patient. Let's work together, because as government, without you as communities, there is nothing we can do. And that's why we always say together, together, together.
Who are these people that are demonstrating? Because you've been quoted as calling some of these people hooligans and criminals. Who are they?
Well, they are genuine protests. And we have attended to those genuine protests, where people will say electricity has been switched off, there is no water. But what we do where there is no water, because there are towns in this province where there is completely no water, and therefore you can't build waterborne sewerage. You can't give our people decent toilets because there's no water. Water is something natural. And we are faced with we are faced with those challenges, and that's why we are saying to our people, be patient, we'll come. But there are people, because of the politics of the ANC, we now go into Mangaung. All the time when we go to conferences, people will actually, those who are not happy because they want this leader and that leader, they don't want Zuma, they want somebody else, they will try and destabilize our societies. Because some of these things, the police have picked them up, we have picked them up. It's a battle within the ANC structures. But it's not just only the ANC. We have been also being, what can I say, some of the people who have joined the ANC now are criminals.
So you're saying that...
But they are members of the ANC.
So they're there just to destabilize.
The organization is growing, and indeed they are there to destabilize. But I know our people with time, they may succeed for some time, but the truth will always prevail.
All right, so going towards this conference, you've warned that there are people that have plans to destabilize and interfere with infrastructure ahead of the elective conference. What are you going to do to stop them then, if they're card-carrying members of your party?
Well, we are leaders. We can't act like we are members. We are supposed to provide leadership. We are supposed to win over and talk to those who have different views from our views. We are supposed to engage and show people the light. We are supposed to build unity within the ANC, but also unity amongst our communities. For us to build a nation, that's what we are supposed to do as responsible leadership. We are supposed to lead without anger and hatred. And I think we can build a better province if we consciously lead in that particular way, and it becomes an understanding, not of one individual leader, but of all of us, our collective leadership, wherever we are, from the branch to the region to the province, as well as national.
All right, I'm sure this issue is going to get unpacked a little bit later on, but we are going towards Mangaung, and it's not something that we can, ignore, because a lot of people are talking about it. I asked the President at the beginning of these briefings, is the ANC united? But clearly, I think we're starting to see, as you've mentioned, there are factions, there are people within the party that are perhaps disruptive. My question to you is, in its 100th year, and especially someone like you who's presided over the provincial ANC since 1994, what do you think's gone wrong that we're seeing this kind of infighting, and what can be done to maybe turn it around?
Well, as I say, it's upon leadership to act in a particular way. We have to be very patient, because the generation, young people who have come up now, they do things differently. In terms of discipline, we come from a culture where I cannot be taught discipline and respect by a political party. As a South African, as an African, when I grow, wherever I am at home, that's where I'm taught respect. We can't force people respect and learn respect, and you need political education for us to tell you you have to respect an elderly person. It's logic. You don't need a political education for that. So maybe we are not giving ourselves more time to inculcate and teach our young people at a younger age. And at times we make people leaders before they have actually gone through the processes of leadership. Before you are a leader, you must be prepared to be led, even if you are a leader. Because once you are not prepared as a leader not to be led, we're going to see havoc. And you can't then say to people who have learned about the history of this country, you were born yesterday, and you want to lecture a person like Zuma about the history of the ANC and the history of oppression and the history of colonialism, and you want to say you know better than him. It doesn't make sense, because you were just born yesterday.
Okay. You know, when we talk about how far South Africa has moved, there are a few provinces that I kind of look at traditionally to measure the temperature of race relations. I think Limpopo, Western Cape, and the Free State traditionally. I remember in the early 90s, I used to take my brother to Queen's College, and I stopped through a town called Rouville. And my car broke down, and I needed a hotel. And I went to the police station and I said, can you recommend a hotel? And the black police officer said, look, to be honest, Chief, I think you better sleep in your car. So, I'm just wondering, since the early 90s to where we are now, how have race relations improved or not improved? I saw a glimmer of hope in 2010 in the World Cup. What's the state of affairs now?
Well, people might think I'm exaggerating, but you know, after 94, I was told I must interact. No, 92. I must interact with the person who tortured me in prison. And I said, but how can I engage the late Captain Van Haystack, Captain van der Linde? But I was told, if you want to build this country, forget about the past, let's build a better country, let's reconcile. And once I understood that, we had to travel throughout the province of the Free State and engage our white South Africans. And I can tell you, and then after 94, I went to a farm in Ritz, surrounded by lions. And I visited the farmer there. I could not sleep that night. It was the first time to sleep at a white man, a farmer place, and I was worried. But I can tell you, you can go throughout the province. There are challenges here and there, like in South Africa. Racism is still there. But the Free State is not as conservative as people see it. I see it quite differently. And that's why I think even through sports, soccer, we have Bloemfontein Celtics, Free State Stars, we have the Cheetahs, and the Griffons, and that's why we started even what we call reconciliation game, which will be every year during reconciliation month. But our children are at school together. There are a lot of changes. We are friends. I stay next door to white guys, and they stay next door to black guys. The country is open. So the relations in this province, wonderful. But there are challenges,
sure, like
challenges anywhere else. But there is no this conservative which we used to know and see during those days of apartheid.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it will be one of the best provinces moving forward into the future.
Okay. You know, people joke, they say that a good sign that race relations have improved is when the dogs bark at white people as well. All right. Okay, talking about sports, the Olympic Games are in play at the moment. What has the Free State's contribution been to the growth of sport and getting our athletes to big events like the Olympic Games?
Well, we have one or two, I think, and some of the people who participated countrywide in what we call Tour de Free State are participating in the Olympics. Tour de Free State came before the Olympics, and we have actually fed Tour de Free State, the Olympics, and we hope, and we have also contributed one of our own, the Minister of Sports. It's already there.
But you've got a great tradition, I think, particularly in boxing, athletics. Facilities, are these things that you're building, particularly in the schools, because this is where the future stars are going to be coming from?
Well, yes, we have what we call high performance centers in almost all the districts except Harib. You can go to Sasol, you can go to Kwato, you can go to Velcom. We have this high performance center. We have one of the best centers where even the teams, national teams, sometimes use our facility here at the Free State Academy of Sport, top level in Africa. We have the university where we can even do the dopings. So we are a little bit well resourced somewhere, but there are challenges because in our townships, these facilities are not there. But in a small way, you can go to a small town called Twele. Go and see people even now exercising. There is a nice park there, like you see these parks in China, where you see the Chinese early in the morning, they are walking around the park, but they are also exercising. We have those facilities, and we want to start them in more areas in the country.
Okay, now we can chat for quite a while. Tend to get involved in conversation, but it's not just about the questions I have for you. We have an audience here that have got questions, and also people at home. I'm not sure we're going to take a quick break first, or otherwise we can go straight to the floor and take some of those questions now. All right, let's go to the floor. I don't know which tables we might be able to start with. Stembele Kala, where are you? You can stand up and ask a question. Where's Stembele?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Program Director, Premier. You have spoken of the poor and qualified audit reports in the municipalities. What is the province doing to intervene, to assist? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Stembele. As I said, we also have to lead, and we have to be exemplary when we provide leadership. In the last financial year, the Department of Treasury for the last 2 years in this province have been getting clean audit for the last 2 years. And last year, the Premier's Department joined them. Clean audit, 2009, 2010, 2010, 2011, clean audit. And a lot of our provincial departments moved from qualified to unqualified. And 1 or 2 departments moved from disclaimer to qualified. And this is what also has happened with municipalities. All our districts for the last 2 financial years, all our district municipalities, the 5 of them, have been getting unqualified reports. Nketwana, one of the poorest municipalities, small, has moved from a disclaimer to a unqualified report. And some of our entities, Maluti Water, Fezile Dabi Trust, and some of the municipalities have improved from adverse. So there is some hope, because what we also have done, we have deployed the expertise of we don't call him Auditor General, but he's the head of audit in the province of the Free State, Ben van Niekerk. We have gone back to some of the auditors who come from universities. They are there with our municipalities. National has sent some people also to our various departments and municipalities. We are starting to look at the type of municipal managers needed. And I know that there are vacancies because the contracts of a lot of municipal managers have come to an end. So we learn from whatever past mistakes which have happened, and we'll employ the best of the best.
All right, okay. So what you're saying is challenges are still there, but the tendency is improvement at the moment.
There is hope, and I think working together with our communities, forgetting about ourselves, working together with our HODs and management, as well as down on the ground there, and doing the right things, and doing some little bit around supply chain and dealing with corruption and tendering, because I'm one of those people who believe that we need to do away with the tendering system. Where possible, we must phase it out. And that's why we are able in Jagersfontein to build houses without a contractor. We build houses through public works artisans. And I believe that this campaign of ensuring, and I think that's what the ANC government, not the ANC government, the National Executive Committee of the ANC, we have talked about this, and we are actually saying we need to move away from this tendering way. Everything in government is tender, is tender, is tender. We can create jobs, we can form cooperatives, we can make sure that our people, and do away with this thing which always causes corruption.
So you're saying the state should
Yes.
do everything itself?
Well, I'm saying where possible, the state must actually. You can't feed our school kids through all the time business. There are women cooperatives. Those women cooperatives must be the ones we can actually produce, like SAPS and the Defense Force. We must produce our own school uniform. We must produce our own uniform of traffic officers. There are women cooperatives who are doing all these things. For us to create more jobs, we can do these things. We can feed our people. We shouldn't, everything should not just go out on tender. We can build roads in the townships. We can pave our roads by using labor-intensive method, and we take a professional to look after those people and manage them. Unlike everything must go out on tender. And I think that's the message I want to spread. I think we are still grappling with these challenges, and I'm challenging my MECs and my mayors and municipal managers to think out of the box and don't wait for these things to fall from somewhere. We must be the first to. Let me tell you what we have done in summary. In a month's time, we will be employing 700 security people. Because what we have done away with outsourcing security. It's a sensitive matter. Outsourcing security to security companies in hospitals. I can tell you in a month's time, you will see, because it's there, it's already happening. You can go to Pelonomi, you can go to Bongani, you can go to Bitumelo and Kronstadt, but we're increasing the numbers. Those police reservists, those people who are working for these private companies which were paying them on the 45th of the month, those people will be full-time. It means it's decent jobs, permanency. People can plan their future. And that's what we must do. We are also starting to do it with many other services in government. And
all right, I'm going to have to move this along, otherwise we'll never finish this conversation.
I like talking.
Silvan, if you could stand up, I believe you've got the next question. All right, the microphone's coming to you.
Day Premier.
Silvan.
Premier, recently the 5 people were suspended in the Department of Housing, or COGTA, and 2 forensic units are investigating the department, basically. Can you just elaborate a little bit on what's happening and how far is the investigations?
Well, there are MECs there. What I've said to the MECs, let's work as a collective, where you pick up some of the challenges and issues, interact with those issues. You are in charge. And I think you can't say somebody is guilty until proven so. So there are some of the allegations which the MECs has brought to our attention, and I think the MEC is dealing with some of those challenges. Some of the things are people in terms of performance, people are not performing, people are not at work. And I've said we must never tolerate the fact that people come to work whenever they want to come to work. People do things whenever they want to do them. And this is what the president always emphasizes. Why don't you charge people for non-performance? But there are those allegations. I can't say a person is guilty unless some of the things are proven. So there is continuous investigation in that department. And I think at the right time, the MECs will be giving us and updating our communities and ourselves.
All right, so let's go to the studio in Johannesburg, Auckland Park. Vuyo and Leanne have been collating questions from our viewers. Let's find out what some of those are. Vuyo?